For the longest time, we thought we had a pretty good handle on intelligence, right? We had our tests, we ran our experiments, we were pretty confident we knew what we were looking at. But what if our methods were flawed? Like, fundamentally wrong, right from the very beginning?
And here's the kicker. What if those exact same mistakes, the ones that led us to believe animals were just simple creatures, are now being coded line by line into our smartest machines? That's the huge question we're diving into today. All right, let's get into it. To really get a grip on the future of AI, we've got to take a step back. We need to look at how we completely, totally misunderstood animal intelligence for so long. It's really a story of one giant collective underestimation. For decades, here was the scientific playbook. You take an animal, say a chimpanzee, out of its rich, complex, dynamic forest, and you stick it in a simple, sterile lab. The idea was that this controlled environment would give us a pure, unvarnished look at its intelligence. But oh man, were we wrong? We weren't isolating intelligence. We were erasing the very context that allows intelligence to exist in the first place. And look, this isn't just some philosophical debate. It has real physical consequences. The research is crystal clear. Animals raised in simple captive environments, their brains are literally different. We're talking decreased white matter, long-term cognitive problems. But animals in their complex, natural homes, whoa, increased brain matter, more synaptic connections, and they are way better at solving problems. The environment literally builds the brain.
So the crucial point here is that the lab was never a neutral window. As researcher Christoph Bosch puts it, it had a strong detrimental effect. We thought we were seeing the limits of animal intelligence. Turns out, we were just seeing the limits of the impoverished world we had created for them.
Now, this problem, studying an unrepresentative sample in a totally flawed context, it isn't just about animals. Nope. This same ghost has been rattling its chains through the halls of human psychology for ages. And now, it's about to get a major tech upgrade. Think back to those lab chimpanzees. Researchers actually have an acronym for them now, BAZAR. It stands for Barren, Institutional, Zoo, and Other Rare Rearing Environments. I mean, that says it all, doesn't it? We were studying chimps living in conditions that had almost nothing to do with their natural lives, and then we were drawing these massive conclusions about the entire species.
And this is where the parallel just smacks you in the face. We do the exact same thing with humans. An estimated 96% of subjects in psychology research come from what we call weird societies. That's Western, educated, industrialized, rich, and democratic. Now, that group represents only about 12% of humanity. Yet we use them to make these universal claims about the human mind. It's the same problem, different species.
So you'd think at some point we'd have fixed these deep methodological biases. We didn't. Instead, we automated them. We took these flawed ways of seeing the world and taught them directly to our machines.
So let's pull back the curtain and see exactly how this pattern gets baked into the algorithms that are increasingly running our world. We're about to see how our own cognitive blind spots become the literal operating instructions for AI.
Psychologists have cataloged hundreds of these little glitches in human thinking, but we're going to focus on a couple of key ones that have made the jump from our brains into our code. Let's look at representativeness bias and something called causal illusion. First up, representativeness bias. This is the bizarre and weird problem in digital form. It's our classic tendency to take a small, familiar sample, our little prototype, and just assume it represents the entire complex reality. When we train AI, our data sets often become that very same flawed prototype.
And the real-world consequences are absolutely staggering. When facial recognition AIs are trained on datasets made up mostly of white faces, the result is a system with a 34% higher error rate when classifying black women. This isn't a small error, it's a systemic failure built from unrepresentative data.
Next is the causal illusion. Now this one's a little more subtle. It's when we teach an AI to see a cause and effect relationship that isn't real, usually by giving it a flawed proxy. That's just a shortcut measurement that doesn't actually capture what we think it does.
Here is a perfect and pretty chilling example. A major healthcare algorithm was designed to predict a patient's medical need, but as a proxy, it used their past healthcare costs. Now, because historically less money has been spent on treating black patients, the algorithm learned a false causation. It figured lower cost must mean lower need. It literally concluded they were healthier. The AI adopted a flawed, biased model directly from our own society,
baked right into the data.
All of this brings us to a much, much deeper issue. Okay, we can see how biased data leads to biased AI. And yeah, we can work to fix that, to find better, more representative data.
But is that enough? I mean, really? Even with perfect, completely unbiased data, would our machines actually be intelligent? Or would they just be better mimics, still missing something absolutely essential?
This is what researchers call the problem of meaning. It's the challenge of building an agent that is the source of its own values and goals. See, true intelligence isn't just about processing facts correctly. It's about having a perspective from which those facts matter. It's the difference between knowing the path and actually wanting to walk it.
Think of it like this: a swinging pendulum. You could say it's performing mere active inference. It follows the laws of physics perfectly, but it has no goals. It doesn't care if it keeps swinging. On the other hand, a tiny bacterium performs adaptive active inference. It actively seeks nutrients and avoids toxins to maintain its own existence. It has a point of view. Food is good, poison is bad. Most of today's AI is the pendulum, not the bacterium.
So what's the path forward? How do we take all these lessons, from underestimating animal minds to misbuilding artificial ones, and actually create something better?
Well, the solution starts by finally integrating the lessons we should have learned a long time ago. First, test intelligence in complex, natural environments, not sterile labs. Second, relentlessly audit our own cognitive biases, because they are the ghosts in our machines. Third, we need to aim for genuine agency, building systems that regulate themselves to achieve their own goals, not just ours. And finally, all of this means striving for something beyond mere intelligence. It means we have to aim for wisdom.
For decades, we completely failed to see the true intelligence all around us because our methods were designed to miss it. Now, as we become the builders of new intelligence, the question isn't just about what we can make, but what we've learned. Can we move beyond just building machines that are incredible at finding patterns and start building ones that can actually find meaning?